Okay, welcome everyone. Welcome to Friday, May 29th, the kickoff to the Memorial Day weekend here in the States. If you're from the States, you know what I'm referring to. It's a weekend where we take some time to honor those who served and sacrificed in the armed services for our freedom, as we say in this country. And for the rest of you, welcome. This is also kind of the unofficial kickoff to our summer season, our beach season, and living down at the beach temporarily while our house is being built. I could tell you this morning when I left the house to go to physical therapy right before this, I have to say the island was hopping. We have about 90 degrees here in the southeastern part of North Carolina right now. The skies are sunny. It's beautiful. It is hot. Um, so, yeah, we are at the official or unofficial kickoff to the summer beach season. So, yeah, I figured I didn't schedule any work today only simply because I had physical therapy this morning, as I mentioned a few minutes ago. And I wasn't sure how I was going to be feeling after that. So I just took a ride up to the studio and said, you know what? It's been a while since I did a live stream. Why don't I get out there and just say hey to everybody, check in, see how you're all doing? Got a couple of things I want to talk about, nothing major. I want to give you an update on the build process, and I want to actually take a look at TP-Link router that I've had sitting around here now for about 4 or 5 weeks, and I haven't even had a chance to open the box. So I thought, well, maybe we would do that live. So that being said, if you're here, say hello in the chat. Let me know where you're from. And yeah, you know me with my impromptu live streams. I don't go ahead and pre-schedule them. So I just kind of like to um, be random and go on live when not only when I have the time, but also when I feel like I have something to say. I just don't want to go live for the sake of going live. So that being said, again, say hey if you're here. Let me know. Let me know how the video looks, how the audio looks, how the video looks, and how the audio sounds. We're trying something different here today. In fact, let me just check my stream health for a second, and I'll explain to you what's going on. Okay, so it says stream is healthy, so that's good. We got excellent connection. I'm not doing a typical stream right now out from my studio here. I'm using an ATEM Mini Extreme with the built-in hardware encoder, and I'm not doing a stream from the encoder directly out to YouTube. I'm actually sending it over a site-to-site VPN to an RTMP server that's in another location, and then the RTMP server is sending the stream out to YouTube. Now, I built the RTMP stream server a couple weeks ago, did a recent video on it, and figured I'd give it a test in the live stream. Now, I played with it a little bit offline. A couple weeks ago, Joe from Controlling Tech and we were up late one night just doodling, and we did a test stream, a private stream, from his studio up in Connecticut to here in North Carolina. But again, it was private, and we streamed for about 50 minutes, and we really didn't have any issues. So yeah, I figured why not give it a shot live and see how it handles it. Hey, worst case scenario, it drops the stream. You know, I could always come back online and go direct to YouTube. Unfortunately, I don't have a second encoder that I can send a backup stream out to YouTube. So we're going to just hope for the best here and see how it goes. So that being said, oh, I know. Ashley from Controlling Tech, the logo that you designed for me that's now kind of all over my online presence. I just had new shirts made up. So Ashley, this is your creative work here. So I just want to let you know that I got the new polo shirts with the new design. Loving it a lot. I really like the way it looks on the polos. So just another shout out to you for that. And also, let me just see if I can bring this up without screwing things up. Now, hold on 1 second, folks. You'll see what I mean in a second. Oops, let me bring this up. Bear with me. I also, let me switch over now. I also just want to send a shout out to Kristen over at Imagination Vinyl and More. Kristen did the shirt. She took the logo that Ashley sent me, had it digitized so it could be embroidered. So now I got new shirts. I have to get new hats and a bunch of things. But in any event, Kristen does great work. Actually, here's her website. And she has my masks up on her homepage. But she does a bunch of different things, embroidery, vinyl, you name it. She did the magnetic signs for my pickup truck. So her site is imagination-vinyl.com if you need any of these types of services. I just wanted to send a shout out to Kristen as well. So Ashley, thank you for the logo design. Kristen, thank you for bringing it to life on a polo shirt. And also, what I want to do is, while I'm giving shout outs, might as well say hey to my buddy James over at Unbridled Emotions. Let me just bring up his website. Okay, James Cole from Unbridled Emotions. He's just a good friend of mine, and he's trying to get a podcast off the ground. And he's got a YouTube channel where he does video podcasts as well as audio podcasts on, let's see, Apple, Google, Spotify, all of the major podcast platforms. So if you just want to come here to his website, it's unbridledemotions.com. Help him out, support him, help him get this off the ground. And he would really appreciate it. I would really appreciate it as well. Okay. So let's switch back. Okay. So when you hear me say things like bear with me, let me see if I get this right. I hope I don't screw this up during the live stream. Let me explain to you why I say that. So I added another camera. You could probably see it back here, right there, just this week. And I'm not sure if I'm going to be happy with this angled view, but I want to just bring this camera up for a second and show you what I got going on here behind the scenes in the studio. So let me switch over to that view for a second. So what we're looking at here is my main camera. That's my main screen. That's a 21-inch iMac, and on that screen right now I just have the ATEM software control, and I put a couple of notes, just some keyword notes to remind me so I don't forget about things to talk about in the stream. Here's the main camera in front of me. It's a Canon SL3 with a Tokina 11 to 20 2.8 fixed lens, and that's the camera you're seeing there. Then I have a stack of monitors here that I use for various reasons during the course of the day. I have the ATEM Mini Extreme here. I have a little Field World monitor here. I have the Stream Deck here. Over here, I have the DBX286 sound processor. Up above here is the top-down camera. And then if I just move out of the way a little bit, I've also added something I'm trying for the first time today, and that's my cell phone running Filmic Pro, and it's on a DJI OM4. So this way I have control and I can move it up and down, position it the way I want. And it's connected into input number 8. Let me see if I can bring that up and show it to you, show you that view. And that would be kind of like for a close-up view, if you wanted to see something, if I wanted to show you something close up like that. So yeah, I do have the top-down view where I can do unboxings and stuff like that, but I thought it would just be kind of cool to have a close-up view as well. Now it's a little delayed, and I just want to talk about that for a second. So let me get back to the main screen for a second. It's kind of a little delayed, and I say that because what's happening is it's connecting to the ATEM Mini Pro over AirPlay, and there seems to be a little bit of a hesitation. And I don't know if you noticed it when I showed you the behind the scenes view, but I do have a lightning cable plugged into it, and not so much for anything else, but just to keep it awake and not go to sleep. So I have the screen display setting set to never sleep, so that I don't have to constantly reconnect it to AirPlay. However, because realistically, when you set it to never go to sleep, it just chews up the battery. So to avoid that and having it die during the stream, I just figured, well, let me plug it in. It'll stay charged, and this way I don't have to worry about that. But then I was just thinking, well, if I'm going to go that far, I might as well just get the HDMI Lightning to HDMI adapter and run it directly into the 810 Mini Extreme with an HDMI cable, so that I don't have to worry about the delay, because right now it's just the video is being transmitted into the ATEM over AirPlay. So yeah. So you kind of get the idea when I say to you, hope I get this right. And it's a bit overwhelming when you see everything that's going on when you are the person in the live stream, delivering the stream, as well as trying to engineer the show as well. So in any event, now that said, let's go back to the comments and see what's happening in the comments here, Sue. Okay, so we have Edward Jerniak. Hi, from France. Hi. Thank you for joining us from France. That's wild. So cool. So cool. Brian Coates. Afternoon, Tony. Afternoon, Brian. Thank you for joining us. Cajoling Tech. You were next on my list. I wanted to send a shout out to you, my friend. Been thinking about you the last couple of weeks. I'm sure many of you know Joe over at Cajoling Tech, and Joe's been just dealing with some personal things. And he's missed a couple of his live streams on Thursday nights and things like that. But we just want to let you know, Joe, that we're thinking about you. It's good to have you here on the stream. Thank you for joining. And yeah. And Joe says, I like this new behind the scenes camera. Looks great. Yeah, that's an SL2 that I had laying around. And it doesn't have autofocus for live streaming, but I have it just kind of dialed into manual focus. And as long as you're in manual focus and you turn off the info on the display, it just, simulates a clean HDMI out. So yeah. So, all right. Let's see who else we got here. Joey O, IT tech and business owner myself of 20 years. Just wanted to say, hey, I love these videos. Hello, Joey. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah, tech is fun for sure. I was an IT supervisor. Well, I was an IT hands-on tech for a couple of years. And then I kind of moved up the ladder and became a supervisor in the district where I was working. Retired 4 years ago and decided that I still needed to stay active, still needed to stay young. And yeah, so I started what was a part-time business. Has now I'm working almost full 5 days a week, but it's all good. And I'm doing the YouTube stuff and everything. So yeah, all fun, all good. So, yep, Joe, happy to have you here, buddy. Happy to have you here. It was good to chat with you yesterday. So, okay. All right, let me see what's going on here. All right, so now let me see if I can bring this up again. I say this, I don't want to mess this up, but let me get my super source background going on the other computer, which I did forget to do before. Just bear with me 1 second. Okay, there we go. So let me minimize the comments, and let me bring up this right here and switch to super source. Hopefully I can get this. There we go. Okay, so now you should be seeing me off to the left and then my screen off to the right. So again, we are streaming through a site-to-site VPN to an RTMP server that's running on a Synology NAS. on an Nginx Docker container. And like I said, Joe and I tested this out a couple of weeks ago, late one night, and we streamed for about 50 minutes, and we didn't have any issues with it. So yeah, I ended up making a video on the setup of the RTMP server, which was really, really simple. Thanks to Synology, they make it really easy. And a fellow community member, David Grishko, commented on the video, and I have it up on the screen. And what he says here is, to make it easier to modify the file in the future, make yourself a copy of that Nginx config file and then do the following. So he says, modify the Docker container, add a new volume, and then mount that specific file so that you can access from a file share. And then he gives me an example. And the bottom line is, if you do this, then instead of having to go into SSH, into the Synology, and then get into the root level of the Docker container just to modify the Nginx config file, you can just do it right from your desktop. So I thought that was a fantastic idea. I thank David profusely for sharing that with me, and I went ahead and I did set that up. However, I wanted to show you that today. I'm going to show it to you in part. I can't show it to you fully, because if I show it to you 100%, it's going to kill the stream, because I have to stop the Docker container, and I don't want to do that. But I'm not much of a Linux guy or a command line guy, but I was able to pull off what David was suggesting in the actual Synology GUI. So let me bring up, if you can still see my screen here, let me bring up the Synology. Let's bring that back up for a second. Oops, sorry about that. Again, you see what I mean? Hold on. Bear with me, folks. There we go. Let me just bring up my Synology. Okay, let me get signed in. It should prompt me, yep, for my 2FA, so let me bring that up. So let me get signed in. Give me a second to get that code in there. There we go. Okay, so let me show you the Docker container. I'm not going to stop it because it is running. And here it is, right? And again, for me to show you how I did the mapping, I would have to stop it so I can get into the edit mode. But basically what happens is, when you install Docker on your NAS, it creates a Docker folder right here in the file station, in the file system. So inside that Docker folder, I created an Nginx folder, which you see here, and then inside that Nginx folder, I put a copy, like David suggested, of the Nginx config file. So now what's happening is this folder here, the Nginx folder, is mapped to the actual data location inside the Docker container where this Nginx file is being stored inside the container. So realistically, just have to open up the file here, make the changes, and then start and stop the actual container, and the changes will take effect. Now, that being said, I took it one step further, and I put an alias. Actually, let me bring that up real quick. I put an alias to this folder right here on my desktop, and it's right here. So if I double click this, you see it's prompting me to access the share on the Synology. So if I sign in here to the share folder, then you can see right in my app, my Mac Finder, I can actually get to the Nginx config file, double click it, and launch it. So that was really cool. Let me just switch back out of here. That was a really awesome tip, David. Thank you again so much for doing that. Really, really will make life easier not having to go in SSH all the time and edit the config file through the command line. So yay, thank you so much for that. All right, let me bring the comments back up for a second. There we go. Let me turn them on. Okay. Hey, Zach, thank you for joining the stream. I appreciate you being here. Zach says, nice setup. I can't even imagine myself being live. Yeah, Zach, I'm new to it. I wish I could play in my studio every day. If you've been following my channel, which I think you have, I've seen your name quite a bit. I am in the process of building a house, so I'm kind of displaced, and I'm living at a beach location down in Ocean Isle Beach, North Carolina. And my studio is not located there. It's located elsewhere. I have about a 50-minute drive to my studio. So realistically, what happens is I don't get the time that I like in the studio to sit and just play and become comfortable with things, you know. So I get limited amount of time here, so I try to make the most of it. So even if I feel like I got a good handle on something, by the time I come back a few days later, I'm like thinking, like, how did I do that? What did I do? So yeah, but it's awesome. It's so much fun. Joe, good catch, buddy. Yes. Yes, I did. I can't believe you picked that up. Here's what I did. I did not change the lighting settings. So Joe asked me, did you change your lighting? It looks more diffused. I like it. Thank you. I took the key light. Let me see if I can switch back to that camera here without screwing things up for a second. Let me turn off the comments temporarily and then switch back. Okay. So yes, Joe, off to my right here is the fill light. That I did not change. But then off to the right, above this main camera here, was the key light. Did I say that's the fill light? Yeah, that's the fill light. The key light was here directly above in this area here. And now I raised it and I moved it up, and it's kind of center over this top monitor. So it's just hitting me from a different angle. And that might be why it looks diffused, because it's probably not blasting my forehead so much, and you're not seeing, you know, a harder light in that way. So yeah, wow, I can't believe you picked up on that. That makes me happy to know that it's making a difference. So yeah, let's see. We got 12 people here in the stream. We have 2 likes. So if you guys wouldn't mind, please go ahead and hit the like button and like the stream. It lets YouTube know you like what we're doing here on the channel. So I would greatly appreciate that. And for those of you who haven't said hello yet, please do. And it looks like we got Unky Joe is in the house. Hey, Unky Joe, thank you for joining me. I know you're a busy guy working and stuff. I really did enjoy your video, the life in a day of an IT guy, a day in the life of an IT guy. I really like those videos. I appreciate them, and I know they're not easy to do. I'm actually you're inspiring me, my friend, to want to do something similar like that for this church project, which we are very much at the end stages now. And once it's all said and done, after I saw your video this week, and I've seen several of your day in a life of an IT guy, it's inspiring me to want to do that with this church project, because so much went into it, and I did a couple of shorts covering it, but it kind of would be nice to just do a walkthrough and kind of patch together some cell phone footage and, you know, just do an overview of the project like that. So yeah, thank you so much for the inspiration, Unky Joe, and thank you for joining us today. So appreciate it. Oh, actually, I didn't put the comments back on. There's Unky Joe's comments, and that's what I mean, guys, about, you know, staying on top of things. CJL says hi. Where are you from, CJL? Let us know in the comments. So, okay, let me get rid of the comments and let's talk about. Oh, you and I have to talk about lower thirds and overlays in OBS if you're willing to assist. Thanks for the shout out. I'd be happy to assist you with the creation of lower thirds, Unky Joe. I'm not an OBS guy. I don't use it, so you might have a little bit more luck with somebody like Willie or Joe, for that matter. I am not an OBS user, so but I could help you with the creation of the lower thirds, and I would be happy to do that for you, my friend. So, Austin, Texas, you guys must have the heat going on down there. We have 90 here, so I would imagine down there it's got to be pretty hot. Well, thank you, CJL, for joining us. Appreciate it. So, all right, so let's do that. Let's do, hold on a second. Let's do this. And now let's do, I'm getting there, guys. It's coming. Here we go. There we go. There we go. And switch. Okay. So you're probably, again, wondering why I'm showing you a picture of a vacant lot with a bunch of trees on it. And if you've been following the live streams I've been doing, I think maybe 1 or 2 live streams ago, which would probably be anywhere from 4 to 8 weeks ago, I showed you this exact picture that you're looking at here on the screen. And that's a picture of my home site where where our house is being constructed. So that picture was probably 6 to 8 weeks ago. And now we are here as of today. I drove by the site this morning before I came here. And now we are at this progress. So they've put the block down. They've done all the underground plumbing. It's been inspected. It passed. And then if you can see here, all these metal rods that are sticking up out of the block around the perimeter of the cinder block are the hurricane straps, which are required in the building code down here because of our proximity to the ocean. Now, I'm about, where this home lot is, I'm about 20 to 25 minutes from the actual ocean. But regardless, we have some pretty nasty storms down here, and they say we're in for another pretty nasty hurricane season. So anyway, I wanted to show you the progress from this to this. And because we're here now, I just heard from the project manager this morning, they are going to pour the actual slab on Tuesday. And as soon as the slab dries, he said the framers are ready to jump in. So what that means for me is once the framing starts, I'm about 8 weeks away from being able to get in there and do my wiring. So been starting to give it some thought, and I wanted to kind of share that with you guys, if you don't mind, and maybe get some ideas. So here is the floor plan, the first floor of the house. Now, when I say first floor, it's got a room above the garage. It's primarily a one-level house with what they call a bonus room or a frog room. And I think we're looking at a total of about 3,000 heated square feet with this room right here glassed in and HVAC installed, making it part of the heated square footage. Without that room, I think it's around 2,500 to 2,600 square feet. So I've been starting to give some thought to how I'm going to wire up the house and get the networking going. And from a Wi-Fi standpoint, I think I'm just going to go with 2. I think I'm going to go with a Grandstream GWN 7630 right here. I've actually made the decision, by the way, guys, to break away from the Unify access points, which are awesome and wonderful, but I really am liking those GWN 7630s. So I'm going to pop one down here, and that should really give me great coverage on the whole first floor. And then I'm going to pop one upstairs in the upper level of the bonus room, which, by the way, is 10 feet longer than what you see on this diagram. We bumped it out, so we actually have the 2-car garage and then a third, they call them golf cart size garage doors. So I'll have a bigger garage, which means yay, better storage space for me, but also means a bigger studio too. And that might sound like a great thing, but it's really making it challenging to figure out what I want to do up in that studio, especially not being able to see it yet physically. So, but we're going to get to that. So I think I'm going to go with 2 access points. I thought about running a line, and I just may do it, a line out to the back here so that I could put an outdoor access point so I can get decent coverage in the backyard area. I'm not 100% sure that I'm actually going to put the AP out there yet, but I probably will, since everything's going to be wide open, run the lines. Now that said, I'm not going to go crazy with, having to drop lines in every room. First off, my wife would give me, probably take me to divorce court. No, I'm just kidding. We don't have a need to have drops in every room. There are, a second bedroom where the Wi-Fi through the house is going to be, those GWN access points are amazing. So I'm not worried about coverage throughout the house. What I am going to do, though, here's my thought process. I am going to drop, the main TV is right here. Rather than running a single line and then putting like a 4 or 5 port switch back there, I'm just going to run the 4, maybe 6 drops right behind the TV. So I have plenty of drops there. And then wherever TVs are going to be installed, right now we're envisioning 2 more televisions in the house besides the main. We're going to put one here in the glassed-in room and right behind it on the master bedroom wall. So we'll make sure that we have a drop behind each TV there as well. As far as that's concerned, I am thinking Cat5 cables for the first floor. That's probably it. Now, I do want to mention this. I am going to run speaker cables from the network rack out to the rear so that the porch area or the deck area that's going to be back here, I want to mount outdoor speakers, and I'll explain that in 1 second. And I'm also going to do the same thing. Now, the rack is going to be in this area here. Upstairs, though, on the second floor in the garage, there's a closet. Well, above the garage in that bonus room, there's a closet right in this area here where I'm kind of moving my mouse around in a square. The rack's going to go in that closet. So I'm going to run the cabling for the speaker cabling. Everything's going to be home runs from there. 2 of them out back for outdoor mounted speakers, and then 2 of them in this porch area here. I'm going to run 2 speaker cables out here. And the reason I want to do that is I have the Bose SoundTouch whole home wireless speaker system throughout I had it in my other house, and I still have all that gear, so it's going to get set up in this house. So I'll have whole home audio happening in all the rooms. And if you're not familiar with the Bose SoundTouch, and I actually think they phased out, I think Bose phased them out and moving on to something else. They're similar to the Sonos systems where you can have just the wireless speakers all integrated together, controlled from an app. I'm going to add the speaker wires because I have the Bose SA5 amplifiers. So they become part of that wireless whole home system, and those amplifiers allow you to attach wireless speakers, wired speakers, and bring wired speakers in, make it part of that whole home wireless setup. So that's the reason for the speaker cables out to the back area and the speaker cables out to the front porch area. Now, I'm going to check the comments in a second because I'm hoping you guys are going to give me some feedback on so far what I've said. Now, moving upstairs in this area here, which is will be above the garage, I'm not quite sure actual rack will be in the closet in this area here. And from there, I absolutely have no idea how I'm going to lay out this studio. In fact, I told teasing Joe from Cajoling, I told him I was going to fly him down from Connecticut to come in and design the studio for me. But I am thinking that off the main rack, I'm going to drop on this wall here, which would be the wall above the double garage door. I want to drop at least 8 ports. Now, I don't know if I'm going to put all 8 in one spot or put 4 here and maybe 4 here. I thought about putting some drops on this wall, again, because I don't know how the physical layout of the studio is going to be. I'm not sure if I'm going to have 2 workspaces or what. So I'm still up in the air with that. And then I had the thought, well, I still have the Unify 8-port 150-watt switch, which is an awesome switch. Maybe I'll just run 2 instead of running 8 and then just plug the switch into one. I don't know. I'm undecided. I figured everything's open. Why not? So, yeah. And the only other thing I'm going to run into that rack is a coax cable going from the rack home running to the center part of the house up in the attic at the highest point, so that I could put an antenna so I can get my over-the-air channels, because I'll run that antenna into, I have the Tableau over-the-air DVR, and then it captures all of the over-the-air antenna channels and then streams them out to the TVs in my house, whether the TVs are going to be smart TVs or Rokus or Fire Sticks. You just load the Tableau app on your media device, and then you'll be able to watch all of the over-the-air channels that are captured by the antenna. So that's the other thing I'm thinking about in the planning process. And then, as I've mentioned once before, a series of dedicated circuits, electrical circuits, so that I don't have any issues with noise, and because I have so many things plugged in, as you saw by the layout. I was starting to run into noise issues, like line noise on the audio line, the mic line. So I want to make sure I have enough dedicated AC outlets in there as well. So that's kind of where I'm at, my first thoughts with what I want to do with the floor plan. So I'd be interesting to hear your comments and thoughts on that. So that being said, let me bring the comments back up, if I can find them. Okay, let me switch out of this view and here, and then let's bring up the comments. Okay, I've screwed something up. Give me a second, guys. There we go. Okay. All right, where did we leave off? Let's see. We'll bring the comments back on the screen. And Unky Joe says 83 degrees south of Austin here. I will take you up on the lower thirds and see if Joe can explain how they work in OBS. Thanks. Oh, man, you got it, buddy. Anytime. I like playing with Photoshop. I am not an expert, but I do enjoy it. So, yeah, anytime. I'm so happy for you. Nothing like watching your own home being built. Yeah, it's kind of exciting. I'm actually going to get in there and have the opportunity to wire my own. And ironically, right at the same point, we're probably about a week apart. My sister lives down here too, my sister and brother-in-law, and they're building in the next community over from us. They're about 2.5 miles from us, realistically, by car. And I'm going to be getting in their place and doing all the pre-wiring for their network as well. So, yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting. So, and then Joe says, I was your witness, with Tony, when that your wife said, do anything you want in the bonus room for your studio. Yes, my friend, and I made her say that with you on the phone the other day purposely. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, okay. We, just for for FYI, we've been streaming for 41 minutes, 42 minutes, and I still have excellent stream health. And I just want to, oop, we just got a thunderstorm warning coming from my iPad. But yeah, we've been streaming for about 42 minutes so far. And yeah, it looks like the stream over the site to site to the RTMP server is working nicely. So my next test is I would love to be able to do a multi-channel stream. So maybe Joe, Unky Joe, we can get Willie involved and see if I can get a stream going and get it streaming out to all the channels simultaneously. Even if we do it privately, we don't have to do it live. But if you want to do it live and do a test, we can. That would be great. So far with the setup I got going on right now, it seems to be working. So let's see. Yeah, Uncle Joe, it's floor plan's nice. It's actually a floor plan that from a builder that my wife actually works for. She works and sells new homes for this actual builder, and we went to see several floor plans. And this is going to be the second house that we've built. We built the one that we just sold 2 months ago. We built back in 2012, and I was, let's see, I'm 59, right? So today, and back in 2012, so 9 years, so 50 years old. I was 50 years old before I built my first house. Everything else I just bought, either rented or bought resale. So it finally took me until I was 50 to finally build something that, and I thought I wanted the way build it the way I wanted. However, financially, I just didn't have the means at that point to do everything that I wanted. So we did the best we could at the time. And yeah, when we realized we were going to build this time around, we figured we were going to try to do everything that we missed out on the last build. But I kind of hope this is the last build. It's exciting, but I'm 9 years older now, so I just don't want to do the move and packing and all that stuff again. So yeah. So Unky Joe, wire every room whether you need it or not. It is cheap to do it now and adds to the resale. You know that? Yeah, good point. It's funny. I was just saying I hope to never do it again, meaning build, so which would mean hopefully we wouldn't be moving again. But yeah, you're right. Yeah, it probably would add for resale. So yeah, hey, one drop to every room isn't going to kill me. So, and I got tons of wire. I 100% agree. Joe says, I have a suggestion. Would be really cool to be able to have a central control on main rack to put whatever you want on any TV in the house, like a matrix. Yeah. I know I could do it. Yeah, that would be kind of cool, Joe. Well, I'll tell you what I was thinking, and it wasn't along the lines of a matrix, but something else I was thinking with the floor plan was, I think I've said this to you once before. I kind of like the idea that you have in your studio with the monitor behind you, and when you have the multi view from the ATEM pumped back there. I kind of like that. And I mentioned to you once before, I think I was going to steal that idea from you, and so I was probably going to run a Cat5 cable or a Cat6 cable, because I'm running Cat6 throughout the house. I was probably going to run a Cat6 cable independent of the network, just a point-to-point from where the ATEM is located to wherever that TV is going to get mounted on the wall up in the studio. And I know it's going to be a pretty long run, which is why I wouldn't just run an in-wall HDMI. And then I would use those Ori, or there's a ton of companies that make those HDMI to category cable converters, transmitters, and receivers. So that was another thing, that was another plan that's going on up here. So yeah, but this matrix idea, I love it. I love that idea. I don't know how that would fly with the misses though. Then you could run several coax into the rack and other, yeah, yep. Let's say you want a PC showing your security cameras to be on your living room TV. Boom. Yep. So stream fine. Oops, struck by lightning. Better. Hey, Bob Carpenter, better late than never, keeping one eye on work. Awesome. Thank you for joining, Bob. Great to have you here. There you go, Unky. I don't know how that would fly, but I'll give that a shot later. And if my next video I come out with a shiner, you'll know. I love the dark effect of, yep, of controlling setup, kind of like the dark theme. Yep. Bob's saying, yep, wire everything. Wire what you can, run a spare into places that you might do cameras, water temperature monitors. Yeah, yep. So, you know, I had cameras in the other house, and my other house I had cameras everywhere. I had every light switch was swapped out for a smart switch. I had total smart home control of all my lights, my thermostats, you name it, and I did it. And my wife, I love her, but she's not technology. She's not a technology um, lover. You know, she does what she needs to do with it, and um, even though I would say to her, so don't use the app, right? What do you care if the light switch? Just go up to the light switch. You could still work it manually. You could still go up to the thermostat and work it manually, right? But it was just so we kind of came to an agreement on this house that like I wasn't going to go overboard. Now I'm still going to do the light switches because I have them. I took them all out of the other house and put back. I saved all the original switches, and yeah. So I am definitely going to do the lighting thing and the thermostat again, and probably the outdoor sprinkler main head will be Wi-Fi. I told her I would give her a break on the cameras, um, so I don't know what I'm going to do as far as exterior cameras. I'm probably going to run the cabling and just leave it up in the eaves, and I'll note where they are, and then we'll go from there. So, all right, let's see where we are. CJL says check out HDPE microducts. Great option to keep options open as tech changes. Yep. Don't forget to add gas lines for your barbecue. Yep, already done. That's one of the changes we made. If you get gas available for your area, and kiss propane tanks goodbye. So right now it is propane tanks for us. Right? I think we're gonna have a 500-gallon tank buried in the ground because we're actually gonna in this area again. I mentioned earlier the storms. We have nasty, nasty storms, and we've dealt with some severe hurricanes over the last couple of years. So we are definitely having a whole house generator installed as well. We had one in the other house, and we are going to have one in this house. I lived 10 days, 11 days back in New Jersey in 2012 during Superstorm Sandy, and after that experience where we went to shelters to shower, shelters to get hot water, we didn't have hot water heat for days. I remember going out to the barbecue grill, the propane grill, firing it up so that I can boil water in a sauce pot so that then I could rip the top off of a Keurig cup and pour the boiling water through the Keurig cup into the coffee cup so that I can have coffee. I remember sitting in my car, running the car so that I could have heat and also charge my cell phone and my iPad and also stream some TV over the LTE. So yeah, I swore after that experience it would never be without a whole house generator again. So let's see, where are we here? Joe. Yep, cable is pretty cheap. Let's see. Bob Carpenter says, as long as it has an analog equivalent, all IoT stuff is on the table. Yep, yep. But with IoT stuff too, you got to remember to segregate that, put it on its own network, firewall it off, etc., etc., etc. You guys know the drill with that. So, Unky Joe says, I'm going to use those hue lights for our lamps. Cool. Yeah, I got Controlling sent me a startup kit, and I'm going to play with that once we get in the studio as well. So, Oh, take pictures of everything before you put up drywall so you can remember where stuff is. Saves me time every time I want to do things, wires, pipes. Yeah, I do that. That's a great suggestion, Bob. In fact, I do that with my residential company customers now when I do the pre-wire installs before when I get in there. I can lucky enough to get in there before the drywall goes up. I take pictures of everything, especially cabling that I run to the eaves for future camera installations. I take pictures of everything. Yep, excellent idea. Did I look into solar? No, Joe, I have not. I have not. Or the Sengled, but that requires Alexa, I think. I'm not sure what that is, Unky Joe, but okay. All right. Here's something where I think I'm going to get your feedback going again in a second. Let me get that off the screen. Let me bring up, let me just switch to camera number, which one is it? Is it that one? Yeah. Hold on one second, guys. Where is it? Where is it? That one. Okay. Let me bring this up on the screen. You don't need to see me on this. Okay. I am looking at this. I think Willie, after I was listening to his last live stream, I think Willie has me convinced to give MikroTik a shot. I've not had any experience with MikroTik, however it's said. And just because I just never had it for what I'm doing now in this residential space. I mean, the Ubiquity, the edge routers, the Ubiquity gear works well. I'm incorporating the GWN stuff now, the GrandStream stuff. In fact, I'm hoping, and we're going to get to, if you can stay with me guys long enough, I'm hoping I can get to the TP-Link router, because I'm looking at the TP-Link router as hopefully a replacement in my residential installs for the Edge Router X and the Edge Router X SFP. Those two are awesome for my purposes, and I can't get them. I just can't seem to get a hands on them. But in any event, in this house, I remember saying way back that, in fact, I think we talked about it on the Tech Quartet live stream back in November, about wanting to throw a 10 gig switch in the house, just so that I eventually want to get a 10 gig adapter card for my computer, so that I can, and then eventually get a 10 gig NAS, so that I can at least have that throughput at least between my computer, my editing PC, and my NAS. So if I do nothing else, 10 gig in the house, that's what I want to do. And I like the Ubiquity stuff, and I was honestly looking at the Ubiquity, the Unify aggregation switch, for that means as well. But I think for this price point, and also it helps, it's gonna branch me out further, and make me learn something that I'm not familiar with, and being MikroTik. So I think I'm going to go with this. So I think my network stack is going to look like, let me just, hold on, let me super source switch here, hold on. Oh, I did the wrong thing, darn. There we go. Hold on one second. There we go. I think my network source, my switches are still going to remain Unify. I currently have a 16 port PoE 150 and an 8 port. Uh-oh. I'm seeing a warning on my stream. Anything going on the stream, guys, that I should know about? It says the stream's current bit rate is lower than the recommended bit rate. So let me know if you're seeing anything with the actual stream. But I think I'm going to stick with the Unify switches, and then go with I'm definitely going with the GrandStream access points, and haven't decided yet on the head end, if it's going to remain the edge router 6P that I have, or if it's going to become the Protectly OpenSense. Undecided on that, because if I keep the 6P, the edge router 6P as my head end, which has been doing a great job, I can then take that Protectly and reload it with Proxmox and use it as a VM machine. So I'm up in the air. Let me just go back to the comments real quick. Hold on one second and see what's happening here. Let me just flip out of this screen. All right. Let me turn the comments on. Where are we here? Bob says get the 9-port one. Okay, we're referring to the MikroTik. MikroTik makes wonderful, reliable products. Oh, that's the 8-port. Okay, yeah, good. I will definitely look into that, Bob. Thank you for that. If you're getting central vac, pay the guy a little extra to run a pipe from your closet to places like your basement. Yep, and the garage as well. We did that in the last house. Ah, good. Yeah, no, the little one, I'm not sure it is. I think good. 5x5 here so far. Okay, so that warning is kind of just the YouTube thing, I guess. Quality looks a bit fuzzy. Not sure what I'm set at my end. Looks good. Likely just because you're sharing and ATEM is variable bitrate. Gotcha. Thanks, Joe. Nope. Thanks. YouTube is giving me 360. Okay. Unky Joe, I have OpenSense on my long to-do list. Tom gave it a side-by-side with pfSense the other day. Yes, I saw that. I saw that video. Yep. So, okay. So there we go. All right. Let me get rid of the comments and let me bring up this guy here. And again, don't forget to like the stream. All right, so let me make sure that cell phone cam is still, yep, it's still working. Cool. All right, so we're going to flip to this right now. There. Okay, so I bought this about 4 or 5 weeks ago. It was like $59, $60. Willie did a video on it. He did an overview on it, and I was impressed with it then, based on the functionality it had for a $60 router. And I got to thinking then, since I can't get those edge routers, that I need to, look for something. I can't justify a $300 Protectly OpenSense box in the residential home in the price point I'm trying to keep my installs at. So that being said, that price point of $50 to $100 for a home router, and this falls right within that category, was working out very, very nicely. So I am going to say that I don't know anything about TP-Link other than what I saw Willie say on his video. I have not opened this yet. I have not played with it. So we're going to do an unboxing together. So I'm just going to, let's see. So let me just read to you what it says here on the box real quick. So it's a multi-WAN VPN router. It's model TL-R605. And I believe they just changed the name. I was on their website the other day. I believe they just changed the name to the ER605. So when you're looking for the software updates, the firmware updates, make sure you search for ER605. It's got up to 4 WAN port capability, IPsec, OpenVPN, PPTP, L2TP VPN, load balancing, centralized management, so it can be used independently or as part of the Omada controller. Let's just see what it says here on the side. Let me just flip back to me for a second. No sense in you seeing that. So on the side, It's just saying, hold on, need my glasses. That's better. You got 110, 100, 1000 megabits WAN port, 310, 100, 1000 megabits WAN LAN ports, and then 110, 100, 1000 megabits LAN port. Package contains the router, the power adapter, RJ45 cable, and an installation guide. And then on the other side, basically, the internet connection is saying can be dynamic, static, PPPoE, PPTP, L2TP, 20 IPsec tunnels, 16 OpenVPN tunnels, 16 L2TP tunnels, 16 PPTP tunnels, then network features, 802.1q, VLAN, multi-net DHCP, IP and port bandwidth. So we'll take a look. I won't read all of them to you. Hopefully we'll get inside this thing and we'll take a look at the quick look at the interface. So yeah, let's get this guy opened up. All right. All right, so we have a GNU General Public License Notice. Here's the installation quick start guide, and I'm going to be referring to that. I normally don't, and it's probably something I should do more frequently, but for something that I have no experience with, we're going to refer to this. Let's see what we got here. So here's the power adapter. Here's the Ethernet cable. Sticky felt feet with sticky pads for the bottom, I guess if you're going to keep it on a desk. And then the actual router itself. So if you kind of get an idea on the size, it's pretty small. It's about the size of an Edge Router X SFP. In fact, hold on, I do have one here. Okay, actually the Edge Router X box is empty, so I lied. I thought I had one here, but I do have the Edge Router X SFP, but I do have the Edge Router that Joe sent me that I recovered. So there you can see basically the size difference. Again, it's about the size of the Edge Router SFP version. So, but yeah, not big at all. Nice form factor. So let me switch over now. Let's see if I can do this here and not screw this up. So here's my other camera, my close-up camera view. Now this is my cell phone. It's running over AirPlay into an AirPlay receiver on the ATEM. So you got the 4 ports and let's see, you got, and I need my glasses again. I apologize. Let me get the mic out of the way. So we have the WAN port, and then 2, 3, 4 are WAN LAN. And then you got the one LAN port here. You have your reset button right here. Power light, system light, model number, and branding here. Nothing on the top. On the back of the unit is the Kensington lock right here. And where the power plug goes. Venting on the side, on both sides actually. And then on the bottom, you have your sticker with your serial number and model number, etc. So, that being said, let's put that down there for a second. I hope that iPhone camera worked out. It's the first time I've actually used it like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to get this thing plugged in. So, well, I promised you I was going to read the instructions, so I'm going to do that. Real quick, I'm not going to read them to you. I'm just going to glance real quick. Standalone mode, which is what we want. Let's see. Connect the computer to a LAN port on the router with an RJ45. Okay. If your computer is configured with a fixed IP, change it to obtain an address automatically. Okay. Open up a web browser and point it to 192.168.0.1 in the address field. Okay. Okay, you're going to create a username and password at the startup. Okay. All right, so let's do that. Simple enough. All right, so let's go back here to this. Let me take the power cord. All right, so let's get this plugged in here like so. Let me grab a cable here from my computer. We'll plug it into one of the LAN ports, and might as well plug in off the existing network. Let's plug in a cable into the WAN port so that we hopefully can get internet access to this device. All right, so let me take the power plug and plug it in, and we'll give it a chance to boot up. Okay, so the power light is on. Let me just see if I can switch over to camera 8. Probably can't see it, but the power light there is on. So we'll just give this guy a chance to boot up. While that's booting, let me jump over to the comments. So let's do that. Let's do that. And let's see where we are. So Bob says, let me just bring this a little closer. Bob says, I'm still not leaving pfSense. CJL says, I feel you. We had a frozen state for 10 days. We're referring to the deal with Superstorm Sandy. Yeah. Spent a year in a wheelchair after a bad fall. Oh, wow. I'm sorry to hear that. Bathing and related activities are hell if we can't walk. Yeah, I can't imagine. I have issues with my shoulder, like I mentioned, and my lower back. I mentioned I went to PT earlier, so I can't even imagine, what you're describing. I hope you're doing better, my friend. Unky Joe says, I just ordered 4 of those Senglid. Okay, so they're lights. All right, thank you. I never heard of them, Unky, so thank you for broadening my education here a little. They do not require a hub to work, and they are controlled by an app on your local wireless. Then add it. Oh, okay, cool. Thank you for that. Many of these devices can be reflashed with open source stuff like Tasmodo. Yep, I've seen people do that. I've never done that. Yeah. I don't get too much into like the whole home assistant thing and all, just for a time factor. I kind of just like, when it comes to these smart home things, plugs and switches, just like kind of plug and play. And if I can control them on and off and group them for one button operation, that works for me. So let's see. Points for GNU admission. Yep. Brian Coates says, Tony, I have an extra Edge Router X you can have, just need. And oh, sweet, man. Thank you so much, Brian. Yeah, I'll take you up on that if you want to. You send me an email, Tony@quiktechsolutions.com. So I have a way to send you information. Yes, if you mess with ERs, it's worth spending $10 on Amazon for a USB to TTL. Yep. I did get that one recovered. In fact, tomorrow's video will be covering that process. So yeah, look for that one. It was a nice experience, a good experience for me. I'm happy that I was successful doing it. I'm doing a live stream on Saturday at 1 p.m. I have that router sitting here on my desk in a box sealed, waiting to be opened. Too much stuff. Yeah, I hear you, Unky Joe. I've had this for 5-6 weeks, and yeah. So let's see. Unky Joe says same here. All right, let me bring up a browser. Let's see if we can or cannot get into this thing. Let me just check real quick off screen. Let me just check see if I pulled an IP address. Yep, looks like we pulled an IP address. Yep, hopefully we'll be able to get into this guy. Let's see. Oops, gotta turn the comments off. There we go. All right, let's do this, and let's do this, and let's point the browser to 192.168.0.1. Let's see what we got. Okay, so we're at the TP-Link login page. It says here, for device security, please set an administrator account. So instead of giving you a default admin set of credentials, you're creating it. That's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. All right, so let's just make this Tony Smeraldi, and my password for now will be passwords do not match. Of course, fat fingers. Hold on. There we go. Okay, and never. Now, after you set the account, it appears that it wants you, it doesn't just bring you in, you've set the account. Okay, so now we're going to sign in. Cool. All right, and again, we don't want it to remember. And you know what? Let me do this. Let me get out of super source and bring this to full screen so you guys can see this. I just got to remember which source that is. Let's see. There we go. And there. Hopefully that's a little better for you guys. And let me see if I can just zoom it in a little. There we go. Okay. By the way, yeah, we got 13 people still here, which is pretty good for one of my live streams. 6 likes. Do me a favor, guys. Just hit that like button for me. I appreciate it. Just lets YouTube know that you like what I'm doing here on the channel. Okay, so we got the TL-R, and again, it's been renamed to ER60605 Safe Stream Gigabit Multi-WAN VPN Router. Now, I'm not going to do any further setup on this today because I've already been streaming for an hour and 15 minutes, which is very unusual for me. But and I do have to start bringing this to a close soon. But hopefully I'll do a follow-up video on this, on a basic setup. And Willie kind of went through the whole thing, so I'm just going to quickly go through everything. So you got your system status here, the WAN, the dynamic IP, which is the connection type, the link is up, the IP address, the subnet mask, etc. You got a little graph here showing you your memory usage and your CPU usage. And then if we go to traffic statistics, it shows you your traffic statistics, your IP statistics. Now looks like it's showing everything here, but you can enter a range. So if I just wanted to look at what was happening on, I guess, this subnet, let's try that. Yeah, no. Oops, I see what I did. And then say save, and then let's do a refresh and see what happens. Okay, yeah, and it's not seeing anything on this subnet, but okay. But it should be seeing some things because the subnet that it's, there we go. Okay, so it is seeing the actual router that's on the edge to the internet. Okay, so yeah, I guess you can control what subnet you want to check. Again, guys, I'm seeing this for the first time as I'm doing it with you. I honestly have no idea what I'm doing. So, all right, let's look under WAN. Okay, so I guess here's where you can set and add the different WANs. So if we, there, now we got 2 WANs, 3 WANs, kind of like what Willie did in his video. So yeah, you go to your WAN tab, you can pick your connection type. Now you see the different connection types and all the other options. Again, I don't want to belabor this too much, but I just want to take you through it. So you got your LAN, MAC address information, switch information, your VLAN information, and then I don't know if you've noticed, but as I'm switching tabs on the left side, you also have all these different DHCP server, the client list. Oh, you can do address reservations, which is awesome. I like that. And you have sometimes multiple tabs for, you can mirror this device. You got your port configurations, your port status, lots of stuff. Your preferences, IP group, time range, VPN IP pool, service type. Here's your NAT. And again, virtual servers, port triggering, your DMZ zone, ALGs, right? Bandwidth control. I'm just going to go through this quickly because I do want to bring this to a close. My goal was to get it out of the box and see if I could even get into it today. Session limits, got load balancing, online detection, link backup, lots of stuff for a $59 device. Now I see why Willie was so impressed with this. I'm going to have to really play with this guy. Enable ARP spoofing, attack defense, access control, behavior control. You can do some web filtering, web group filtering, URL filtering, lots of stuff. Your VPNs, IPsec, L2TP, PPTP. Probably going to do an update when we get off just to see if there's anything else added to the interface than what's here. Authentication settings. I think this does a captive portal as well. Then you have your user management, configuration backup, authentication status, services. It has dynamic DNS. Looks like it only has 4. They haven't added any since Willie did his video. Maybe in the future update. UPnP, which by default is disabled. And under system tools, you got your admin setup, remote management control, system settings, lots of stuff in here. Management, factory default restore, backup and restore, reboot the device, do your firmware upgrade here. We're running version 1.0.0, build 202.0.0.904, etc. Control settings, SNMP, diagnostics, time settings, defaults to Pacific time. I'm not going to bother changing that now. Your system log. Wow. Lots of stuff on this router. So, yeah. I don't know how it performs. I'm not sure how it lasts over time. But if it's anything as far as its performance and durability, like an Edge router, for the ton of features that it has here, it has a lot of features in the GUI from what I can just see initially that you'd have to go under the hood to the command line for the Edge router. So, and you know me, I dabble under the hood. I'm not in depth like a lot of other people, but if I can do it in the GUI, I'm happy. So yeah, let's see what you guys think of that. I'm sorry for the fast run through, but it is now 1:20 and I will be signing off shortly after, in a few minutes. So let's go back to the comments and see where we are. Okay, so put the comments on, and we're back to the smart home stuff. Bob says, what's beautiful about Home Assistant is that it is the glue that brings all of the weird separate IoT stuff together, so they'll interact with each other. So, yeah, there's an app I used to use, did something similar. IFTT, whatever, TF, I can't think of it, IFTTT or something like that. Yeah. Oh, that's good to know though, Bob. Someday when I'm really retired, Bob, and I'm not kind of like semi-retired, I will have more time to play. You put the bee in my bonnet and now I have another toy to find time to play with. Thanks. Oh, Unky Joe's Playhouse. Yeah, Unky Joe, you and me both. We'll compare notes. It look, from what I could see just by getting into it and going through it quickly, it looks like it's got a lot to offer for the bang. Bob saying, continued. So if you want your Insteon light switches to also stay on during a Wi-Fi to also say turn on a Wi-Fi plug when you turn on the lights in the room, easy, so it can trigger it. Cool. Always like to see, do they do firmware update checks? Um, I didn't see, again, it was just a quick run through, Bob, but I didn't see that one. Let me just quick go back to that tab in a second and I'll let you know. Boo, no check, only oh, you did it. Okay. You already did it. IFTTT. If this, then, yep. Oh, it is a paid service now. No way. Get out of here. Oh, bummer. Wow. That's not cool. So anyway, yeah. So briefly, that's pretty much all I have for today. The stream is still saying excellent condition. I'm looking up over at the YouTube, um, the live stream page behind the scenes, and it's saying excellent condition, other than that one little variable bitrate blip that we had. So I'm happy. I'm happy with the performance that it looks like the RTMP server is putting out, especially the streams going to it over the site to site. So happy about that. An update on my church project. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm hoping to Unky Joe inspired me. I'm hoping the next time I go back, well, the next time I go back, it'll be actually to flip them over to the new network officially. Yesterday we fired it up. We did some internal tests. We did some external, then we kind of we connected it to WAN on their existing modem, just to do some internal and external tests. We did some RF testing. We checked for coverage, everything, blah, 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 blah. And I was happy with the way it turned out. So that was yesterday. So what we're waiting on now with that is their ISP, which is Spectrum. We're moving the modem from where it's currently located in the office manager's desk now into the room where the main rack is, which is on the other side of the building. And Spectrum had to come and bury a line, which they did. I did look at it yesterday. The line's there. So the next step is they got to send one of their technicians out to bring that line inside into the rack for me so that we can then move that modem. And once they do that, we will be flipping them over live. Now, there's a lot of other things to take into consideration too. I tested their computers yesterday. I moved their phones over to the new networks, tested that. Everything worked nicely. But there's a live streaming setup that is managed by their tech ministry. There's also a security surveillance system that is being revamped, and we may end up getting that job. I don't know. They've been reaching out to their current contractor, and they haven't been getting too good of a response. So that might come our way. I did sell them on an A10 Mini Extreme ISO. So they're going to be upgrading I think they're running an old server with OBS. So they're going to be upgrading their live streaming gear, which I'm happy about. So the next step is, once that tech comes out and brings the line inside into the cabinet, we'll move that modem and then we'll get them flipped over. And then it's up to their tech ministry to migrate their live streaming stuff, and then that camera stuff, we'll just see how that plays out. But in any event, once that is flipped over, I'd like to do that walkthrough. Unky Joe inspired me greatly, so I'll see if I could piece some cell phone footage together. I'll take the gimbal, I'll take the DJI OM4, so hopefully it won't be too choppy, and we'll go from there. And yeah, so let me take one last look at the comments and see if anybody else added anything. And I don't see anything. So, hey, we still have 12 people with us an hour and a half later. I am thrilled about that. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you for supporting the channel as you all do. Again, in the States, we're looking at Memorial Day weekend this weekend. So those of you who are not in the States, just everybody be safe. Whatever you have planned for the weekend, your festivities and things like that, just be smart. Stay safe about it. If you're here in the States, take some time out to honor those. Just reflect on what the true meaning of Memorial Day really is. And yeah, so thank you all for joining us. And I just see my screen flipping. Unky Joe's saying, I also do it to document the install. Oh, plus I want to see the results. Yes. So, yeah, Unky Joe, definitely. I will definitely try to put that together. Um, I know the pastor had given me permission to do the shorts. Now, whether he's going to let me walk around the complex and I have to get that cleared first before I do that. So, but if I can, I will for sure. And getting back to what I was saying, thank you all for being here. Have a wonderful weekend, whether you're in the States or not, not in the States. If you're here and you're going to celebrate the holiday weekend or the Memorial weekend, again, be safe about it. If you're not here in the States, just enjoy your weekend and again, be safe about it. Thank you all for watching. Look for my video tomorrow on how I recovered that bricked Edge Router X. And once again, thank you all for being here. We'll see you next time.